Blog Talk Radio.
Always look up, never give up, and you will reach your goals. You're important, you're more than enough. And here she is, your host for Rolling with the Diva, Sabrina Williams. Thank you.
Hello. How are you guys? I am very excited. I hope you can hear the excitement in my voice. I want you guys to pick a color today. And my color for today is going to be, hold on. What's your color going to be? Okay, I picked purple. Why did I pick purple? I don't know, but I'm just having a very exciting day. I had my surgery last week on Monday, and it was very mind-consuming. Everything came to a head for me because I was like, wow, just having the surgery, I'm having to prepare for it. It was such a long road. I'll tell you guys that story later. But to go into that surgery at around 8:30 and come out like around 11:30 or 12, and to find out that I had hip dysplasia, which I'll talk about later, and then to find out that I wasn't going to be able to go home to my regular house, I would have to come to rehab, was a big thing for me and was a big psychological and mental challenge for me. And I was just very, 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 I was actually, at first, I was very devastated. I don't like change. I do not like. Hi, this is Sabrina, and you're on with Rolling with the Diva. Who's on the line?
This is Dr. Lynda.
Hi, Dr. Lynda. Sabrina. Everybody, welcome back, Dr. Lynda. Today we're talking about mental health, and what I'm talking about will fit right in. So I'm going to finish the story Dr. Lynda was talking about. I was pretty devastated when they told me that I would have to come to rehab. So I am now here at Kendrick Care in California. I want to be in Kendrick Care in California on the beach, but I'm not there. I'm in Kendrick Care in Las Vegas. And I'll tell you what, when they told me that, because I was just like, okay, I'm going to go home. I'm a creature of habit. I can get in my bed. But the way the surgery went, it meant that I could not put 50% weight bearing on my leg. So that wasn't very healthy time for me. And I think at that point I probably was in shock because I had the surgery, and that was good. The day of the surgery was a very traumatic thing for me because they thought that I had went overweight, and I hadn't. So I'm getting ready to go into the operating room, and they're telling me we're not going to have surgery. And I'm telling you, I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom, and you guys need to take off my tennis shoes. So that worked out. But I think the one thing I learned today, I'm just super happy today because I just got finished watching, I don't know what movie it is. So let me tell you what today's schedule was for our little Kindred Transitional Care and Rehab. That's what it's called. So today is the 20th. And so I missed the word games, and I already did fitness because I go to physical therapy and occupational twice, one occupational, one fitness. And then so I went to see the movie, and I decided, you know what, Sabrina, you're going to have to do this. Your mindset is going to be your barrier, and it's going to cause a lot of problems if you don't get it together. And so I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it together, and I'm going to be okay with this. So today I went and saw a movie. I don't know what movie it was. It was really funny. It was with Carol Burnett. Oh, my God, so many old stars, new stars, but it was just the funniest movie. It was a comedy, and it just turned into a calamity, but it was the best thing for me, and I was laughing, and I got wheeled over to the theater room, which getting in a wheelchair and being wheeled over to somewhere is a feat in itself for me because I'm very independent and I don't like people helping me because because of my anxiety and because of my PTSD, I have to have a trust issue. So to tell myself, you know what, if God was going to kill you and he wanted you to die, he would have already done it. So you're going to have to trust these people to push you in the wheelchair. You're okay. Ask for your medicine if you need it. And I did, and I went on and watched the movie. Nice theater. I'll take some pictures. I'll show you guys. And then they had popcorn. They actually popped popcorn, and you know, whenever there's free food, that sort of kind of makes my mind say, okay, there we go. And I got sodas. And then tonight at 6:30 after dinner, I'm playing bingo. So I'm very excited. I decided that since I'm going to be here, because they told me I'm not going home this week, probably not going home next week, It could be 2 or 3 weeks. I decided, you know what? My kids are okay. My son is doing a tremendous job taking care of his brother, and they're both adults, young adults, but they're checking in, and God is good. And, you know, it was a little hard on me today because my one son yesterday, he takes medicine for anxiety and another medicine, and he took them at the same time, which he didn't read the bottle and wasn't supposed to, and was drinking caffeine. So he just got out of the hospital. So that was a little much on me not being there as a mom. But one of the things I learned with your mental health is this. And you know what I learned, Dr. Lynda?
What's that?
That you know what? I'm human.
Mhm. Yep.
And that as a human, and as a human, things happen. We can either adjust and learn to adjust,
right,
be okay, and adjust quickly, or just fall apart and just stay down and fall apart.
And know your limitations, Sabrina. Know your limits. Don't push. Don't keep pushing. We all do it. I'm speaking to everybody I know, including myself. We have a habit of pushing, trying to get whatever it is we're striving for. But you need to know you need to know what your boundaries are, and you need to know what your limitations are. If not, you'll drive yourself off into the ground. You will. And women are famous for doing it. We're very good at it too. We're very good at it. We do it.
Dr. Lynda, we have another person on the line, 817-219. Who is that?
That is Sheryl.
Hi.
That's Sheryl. Yes, it is.
Yes.
We was rolling with the diva. We had already planned, as you guys know if you listen to the episode and you're really savvy, we had already planned a couple of weeks ago to have Miss Sheryl, try not to burp my Diet Coke. And I don't want to hear anybody about Diet Coke or anything, because here I get to have so much fun, and I'm enjoying my little life. They don't serve liquor, which I was surprised at, but okay, I get it. Okay.
No wine in rehab. No wine in rehab. Okay.
No wine and liquor in rehab. All right, okay. So I'm just still trying to talk to my friends and to my friends and stop it. But Ms. Sheryl Grace is on the line with us, Dr. Lynda, who's been on here before today. We're talking about mental health, and I think probably one of the best things that we can do today is for my sanity, in which I did, is be honest, and for Dr. Lynda and for Ms. Sheryl to give me pointers, and other people who are in places that sometimes you don't want to be in and you get caught up in, and you have to learn to cope with those places, because we can't always have, we have this mindset as humans that, and I had this the first 3 days that I'm in here. I'm Sabrina. They know I'm a diva, or at least I thought they knew, and they should do things my way. And sometimes you can't have things your way, and you have to learn to adjust. And so we're going to talk about what happens when you can adjust and why you need to sometimes allow yourself to adjust, because it'll kill your mental health. So, ladies, let's go with that. Let's talk about that. How do you guys think, after listening to my little story, how do you think I'm coping now?
When it comes to, you hit on some good points, and Dr. Lynda as well. It is hard to trust other people to do for you what you're used to doing for yourself. So, but and you also, it's also hard to delegate for some of us, okay? And it's hard for some of us to recognize.
She knows why I'm laughing.
And it's hard for us to recognize when we have taken on too much, and we still don't understand that some things that you're going to have to modify. Some of us do not know how to modify. When we see that we put ourselves and have a whole lot going on, we just feel like we got to constantly do it this way, the way you saw it in your mind. But you have to allow for things happening not the way that you planned them. And a lot of times you'll find out that was the best way. So when you let it go, then something else was able to take place that was better. But I think that's very hard. I've seen, for us to do that, because we have in our mind this is the way things are supposed to be. And I agree, it does cause a great deal of stress and anxiety, unnecessarily so, when we don't accept that. It really, because it's going to affect us, and we feel constantly, because you're pushing against you're just pushing yourself against a wall, you know, and until you realize that, okay, I got to see what's going on here and read what's on the wall and see what I need to do. I'm going to keep on pushing against that. And I think that's what happens, especially with our mental health. We don't recognize that we have to do that, and we don't want to be seen. We beat ourselves up when we fall short.
Yeah.
Which also affects your mental health.
And I think that's so true because I know for me, one of the nurses had said to me, "Do you want your anxiety medicine?" I said, "No, why? I'm fine. I'm fine. It's you guys. If you guys would just get it together." And I swear somebody done died and told me that I literally was the queen of the world and so I'm like, no, it's you guys. It's this chicken. If you guys would just get the chicken right and cook the chicken right, then I wouldn't be having anxiety. And I finally, I'm like, you know,
that's true. That's a good example. It is.
I'm like, no. And so they're trying to. A lot of them are. And let me tell you something about. I know people a lot of people were, and I think that was one of my heightened fears was everybody's like, you don't want to go to rehab. They're going to kill you. You're going to die. You know what? If you're not going to survive, you know. And I'm thinking, okay, this is good. Good news. I'm going to rehab. I'm going to die earlier than I thought. And so I have to get over that because I'm not dying. These people are not here to kill me. They get paid by my insurance. They will not get paid if I die. And I had to come to that conclusion. And I'm so excited. So I had to tell my friends who were saying that, and even one of the nurses at my doctor's office, because the thing is, you know what, and if I only had to say to the nurse, I had to call her back, and I was like, look, I'm sorry. I do need my anxiety medicine. I thought I was being strong without it. And she said something to me. She goes, you're being strong right now by saying you need it because you're tired, you're a little overwhelmed, and you need to take the edge off. And that's what sometimes your medicine is for. And she goes, there's people here, she goes, and the thing for you, you can't take your edge off because you're used to exercising, and you can't even do that right now. So you have to learn that sometimes you're dealing with your mind and your body and your spirit. When you can't compensate with something else, you have to use the tools that are there. And I think that's one of the things. The first thing is you have to identify a tool. What's your tool? That's one of the things now. I'm sitting here today on the bed because I rolled myself back almost until I saw the cute chef that now gets my food for me. He's so sweet. And he pushed me the rest of the way. I'm serious. I'm not gonna lie, ladies and gentlemen out there. There are some cute people up in here, and I'm gonna tell you what. There's sometimes that my little arms don't work because I can have some man push me in a wheelchair. So let me stop. All right, I'm done. Wait, I'm done. I can't even stop. I'm telling you, there's some cuties up in here. So I think one of the tools I've learned is when I cannot exercise and I cannot get outside to the sun, I will need to compensate for these next couple of weeks with taking my anxiety medicine because it's in the best interest of other people. Not just me. Does that make sense, ladies?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Yes, yes.
You guys are like, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Right. Because if you don't, and that's another thing I'm thinking, if you don't recognize Sheryl's going to have to help me with this one. If you don't recognize your boundaries and your limitations, you will end up in the doctor's office, and you'll ask yourself, why am I here? And it's because you overworked yourself. You did. You pushed yourself too far.
Right.
And everybody, for some reason, we have this thing in our minds, and I'm guilty too. Everyone strives for perfection. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think what I had to learn along the way, as old as I am, is that sometimes wherever you are is as good as it gets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you have to tell yourself, this could be a whole lot worse, but I'm doing okay. Everything is going okay, and you need to just settle down sometimes. We live in a world where everything is moving so doggone fast, and you can't slow it down. Technology, no. Sheryl hears me say this all the time. Technology is driving all of us, whether we like it or not. It brings stuff to you, throws it at you, and you have to catch it and do what you can with it. But at some point you say, you know what, I have to step back and take stock of this. It's not perfect, but this is as good as it gets. And I was reminded by Dr. Renee. I used to work with him years ago at high school. He said, Mubarak, the worst can be worse. He said, whatever's going on in your life right now, you think it's crazy, it's terrible, it's just, I don't know what's going on. He said, well, think about that and think about it being worse. And I thought about that one day, and I said, you know what? This man is right. Whatever's going on right now in your life, it could be worse. He said, so be grateful for wherever you are, but don't drive yourself over the cliff. You don't have to. You don't have to drive yourself over the cliff. And most of us do it every day, one way or the other. I do it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Even as old as I am, I tell myself, you know what, you need to just be still for a minute so you can think. Oh, Lord, I feel like Aretha. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to think.
Yeah, that's true.
You do. We move too fast.
Sheryl,
Mm-hmm.
What kind of tips? I mean, because you're a counselor, and I know Dr. Lynda, you guys both have dealt with people. But what kind of tips do you give your clients when it comes to, say they're not having to stay at rehab, but when life just quickly adjusts for them, say they're out somewhere and they have to adjust, what tips do you have to offer them, and what do you suggest?
Well, the one thing that you have to, people have to realize is that change, life is nothing, but what's this quote? Nothing is certain but change. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing that is certain. I mean, that's just life. You know what I'm saying? And you have to allow yourself maybe to feel the frustration of that change, of that adjustment, but you can't dwell there. So it's okay to be able to express, okay, I got to stop now because I'm very frustrated because, my marriage suddenly ended, or my job is acting crazy, or, anything that happens, or, my mom's sick, or I'm sick. It's all right to be able to express the pain and frustration and come to that, but now you have to figure out, take a step back, and allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. But then after that, okay, I'm going to take some day off to check out. If I got to take a day to just kind of let myself wallow in that thought for a minute. But then after that, okay, this is not supposed to be the way I'm going to be acting every day of my life. Now it's time for me to get the business figured out in place. Okay, how am I going to deal with this? And you have to make some decisions about how you're going to adjust, because it's always something to adjust to. I don't care what you're doing in life. There's always something. Like she talked about with technology, that's one aspect of life, and it's a major one. You know what I'm saying? And it does. It drives you crazy. I have, for me, I really, when I miss deadlines, it drives me crazy. And I had to get to a point, although I get frustrated at myself and everything, I have to get to a point where I'm like, okay, it's a reason why this is happening this way. So, okay, let me try to figure out how I'm going to do it and just take my time and not worry about it. And then I will find out sooner or later that I did best by waiting those 2 little days. But we have to kind of trust the process. I think a lot of times we're so busy fighting against it. We don't, because that's what we were taught. We were taught to fight through things, push through and everything. And everything just ain't meant to be like that. So I try to tell people to acknowledge where they are first, acknowledge what is frustrating them, and then try to figure out how they're going to cope with it. Because a lot of things, if you make a decision in your mind first, that's what it takes. You got to decide how you're going to. Sometimes you actually decide how you're going to respond to something. People don't believe that. There's a difference in reacting and responding. You're going to react first, but now you got to take the time to respond to it and figure out how I'm going to really deal with this situation from this day forward. Because it's okay to react, because that's a natural thing. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to respond to it. And sometimes you have to sit down and really think about it and write it out. Talk it out until you figure it out. And you can't, and you have to take the time to do that, not just be so. And you don't have to make that decision right then. A lot of us think to make a decision right away. No, you don't. And it's okay to say, you know what, I'm too upset to talk about this right now. I'm really upset with what's going on in my life right now, so I need a moment to step back and think about how I'm going to deal with this. It's okay to do that.
Right.
Wow. Those are great points. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add to what Sheryl said. Another thing I have found out over the years, and I'm sure Sheryl will agree too, is a lot of us have this thing about control. We think we can control everything.
Yep.
You have to come to a point in life where you have to realize there are very few things in life that you can control except you. The rest of it, whether you like it or not, it's completely out of your hands. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not anybody's fault. You are just not in control of that piece. That piece goes on. That piece has a mind of its own. And things, you cannot control everything in your life. You cannot. You can control you. And like Sheryl said, how you handle it, how you adjust, how you make some changes. But the rest of the stuff that's going on around you, you can't control all that.
Nope.
That's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. Control, not being in control. If you have that type of personality where I want to tell everybody how to do everything and this is what we're going to do and we're going to do this, no. You are going to bump your head. You're going to be frustrated. And you're going to be all worked up about things you can't fix. Some things are just bigger than you. It's just bigger than you. You're okay, but you don't own all of it, and you're not supposed to own all of it. Some of that stuff that's going on out there belongs to somebody else. Let them deal with it. So control is a big factor, too. I've seen people almost flip out mentally because something was totally complete. I mean, something simple. Things you and I would blow off, they get upset about it. I said, well, why are you upset? Well, that's just not the way it's supposed to be. I said, it is what it is.
Right.
It is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Control is a booger bear. It is.
Speaking of control, I mean, let's take that to another factor, and I know that a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but some control can get to the point where it can be deadly. And I know let's talk about the guy that killed his wife, and I'm just going to say that he killed his wife. You know, you're innocent until you're proven guilty, but right now it's showing that you killed your wife, killed your 2 kids, and you killed your baby. That's an act of control. Something has to be going on in that family, and I've seen it myself, as Sheryl has, as Dr. Lynda has, and many other people. Domestic violence can get to now. We have no identification that there was domestic violence going on, because from all accounts, that what was shown on social media. But we all know that social media can be a farce. What was shown on social media, that everything was good. But there could have been other things going on. That could have been, and I'm just, I watch way too much Criminal Minds. To me, that could have been a ploy for her, knowing something was coming, for her to let everybody say her final goodbyes. That's just me. That's just my personal
Yeah.
But the control can get to a point where it becomes deadly. I mean, when I was married, I had a spouse that did not like if my cleavage showed. One day he ripped up one of my sweaters that was probably a $500 sweater, just over that. So I knew, just to keep the peace and so that there would be no drama. And because he had his own issues at the time, I wouldn't wear sweaters like that. And it's just now, and I'm 54, it's just now that I no longer wear shirts under my shirts just to please somebody. So control can take many forms. What do you guys say on that?
That's very true. That's extremely true. It could take in many forms, and even when you talk about just for example, take it back on the Facebook thing, people use that as a source of control. They want to control what people are seeing about what's happening in their life. I don't want you to see the other side. So I'm gonna put these beautiful pictures up of representing us as a family to control the image of what people are seeing me, and then subconsciously I'm convincing myself that my life is really not falling apart inside. And a lot of that stuff is taking place on social media. There's a lot of posts that's having domestic situations, domestic violence and situations in the home. But from the Facebook post, no, you wouldn't think it, because that's part of it too. You get so caught up in that you want to present to the outside world that everything is fine. So you get caught up in image. Controlling the image output, controlling how people see me, you know. So we get so caught up in that. And sometimes I just got to be real and be like, okay, you know what, maybe I don't need to be seen on social media at all. I'm definitely not going to act like I'm just, this is happening like this, so great. But that's the way a lot of us get caught up in that. You know, and that keeps people in bad relationships forever, bad jobs forever, because of the image they're controlling. So, and people they don't realize control is very subtle. A lot of folks don't realize. They just go on and adapt. Just like you adapted with what you were wearing. Some people just adapt. They just adapt and just learn to do what keeps things in order, not realizing what's happening to them in the process.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's kind of the control manifests itself in different ways.
Right.
I mean, and I think that one of the things that we have to remember. I know some people tell me that they say that sometimes my social media is not always pretty as far as the words I say or things that I do. Well, they're not supposed to be, because I've just likened it to this. If you were on a phone conversation with me and I didn't like something you say or do, I'm going to tell you. And if I don't like something you say on social media, I'm going to tell you. If your feelings get hurt that easy, then I'm going to tell you we're not hanging it together anyway. So what would be the problem? I mean, I think that people get caught up in the fact, because we're so wanting of friends, which brings us back to our mind, body, and spirit, that we want everybody to like us. Not everybody's going to like you. And if everybody did like you, you need to reevaluate yourself. Because if everybody's liking me, I was the first person up until 5 years ago where I was like, I want everybody likes me, and I would get all freaked out if people didn't, and I'd be a people pleaser. But then in my mind, I'm pressed, I'm sad, because it just wasn't working. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to like everything you have to say. And you know what? And you need to be okay with that. You don't have to be a mean person how you say things, but if somebody says to you, I want you to do it this way, and you need to be able to say, no, I'm not. I feel like I need to do it this way. And if they want to try to intimidate you or try to push you, then you can say I appreciate it, but you need to be able to do things your way, because at the end of the day, when you don't do it your way, what happens?
That's some problems. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. That goes back to that piece too. Sheryl and I were talking about, just back to that control piece too. Sometimes you can want it, like I said, want it your way so badly. And we're also living in a world now where people are picking their words to even say things. I had a friend once. I had to stop dealing with her. I could not give anyone else a compliment. I said, you know what? Sheryl has written this great book, and I'm halfway through it. I need to finish, but I've been having sinus attacks. But you know what, girl, that's really great? Oh, what's great about it? Why are you giving her that compliment? I'm giving her the compliment because she deserves it. That's a control thing.
Yeah.
It really is. You have to watch even how you respond to little bitty small things. I got to the point, I said, you know what, this lady has a problem. It's not, this is beyond jealousy or envy. There's something else going on with her. Yeah. When you cannot give a person a compliment, and, in the presence of certain people, that lets you know there's something else going on with them. A lot of it is not just, like I said, all jealousy or envy. There's a thing about control. I want to control how you feel about other people. No, you can't do that, with humans. You can disagree with somebody, but you don't have to be mad to the point where you start challenging people about the decisions that they make. That's one of the things now that we're having trouble with on social media and on news coverage. If I don't say exactly what you want me to say, or I don't think exactly the way you want me to think, then we got a big blowout. We got a problem. No, we don't. I just don't think like you. You know what I'm saying? It's about control again.
It brings to the guy Kirkpatrick. I mean, and I think that's the biggest one. Yeah, I have to admit that I'm the person who just, it's about me standing for the flag. But when I look at the whole picture of Kirkpatrick, that man is out of a job, and because he took a knee, and because the president is basically pushing other NFL coaches to not hire him. That's way too much control for one individual person.
It is.
Now that man doesn't. And I used to be the one who said, "Oh no, you should, you stand up for the flag." But at this point, if your control is so much that you think that you can use your ability as the president of the United States to influence others, and other people are listening to that, then what you have is not your control. One, you don't even. you can't even just be good with your own self, because that's a self-esteem problem. I'm sorry, but I think that any president, and I think that it should be a law that our president should not have access to any Twitter or anything, because if you're a president and you going back and forth tit for tat with people, that's a self-esteem issue. You need to go sit down somewhere. That's just
I mean, he definitely has some issues, and I'm to tell you too, I'm more worried about the people that follow him than I am him. To be nice, I'm like, at some point you got to have some common sense. But his followers, it's okay with them.
And they don't, and the people are not having common sense. It's almost like I just liken it to the Jim Jones thing. It's like the Kool-Aid. Well, Jim Jones said, drink it. That's what we're going to do, and I don't care. I respect the president of the office, but the man that's in office is getting out of control. And people don't understand, and I can say it because I'm a Republican. I'm a diehard Republican, but I do not represent or do not believe in any of the things that are going on now as a Republican. I think it's sad. I think that we're overstepping our bounds, and that the people who are Republicans, if you think that that's okay, because it's almost like, well, if I go along with this, if he wins in the next election, then I'll be okay. What happens when he's not in the election? This is what I told somebody. Because I noticed that 3 people that I've known for 20 years, they have gotten off all my social media and dropped me, and 2 of them told me I'm a liberal Republican. First of all, there's no such thing as a liberal Republican. I'm a liberal Republican. Okay? Y'all just don't like that I don't agree. I don't personally agree that anybody should be able to. And let me tell you, Maxine Waters, yes, she does have a lot to say. But when you're over here saying mean things about Maxine Waters, and you're the president of the United States, is that even morally right or even a good thing to do? No, it's not. It's like you're bullying people.
That's exactly what it is. He is a bully. That's exactly what it is.
People are being bullied, and people don't want to hear that. So, and I've had people, and people are like, well, we just dropped you as our friend. So this is what I said to the person. We were talking about this, I think, on 2 weeks ago. Now, you dropped me as your friend because you said I'm a liberal Republican. Now, you know he only has 8 years in office if he gets elected for the next 4. What happens after that? Are you trying to come back to me as my friend? It'll never happen because you made some moral choices that were wrong.
Yeah.
You chose to react to me instead of responding and saying, Sabrina, you know what, I thought you're a Republican, blah, blah. I would explain to you, I'm a Republican. But if you guys think that some of this stuff that's going on is correct, y'all have lost your mind. And I'm the first one to tell people that this is like crazy. And it almost reminds me of like being in high school. Like we are sitting on different sides. I don't know if you guys remember this, but at the lunch tables, we had the different tables that were almost color. And that's exactly what we have. We have the cheerleading table. We have the football table. We have the science table. There was actually Republican clubs and Democrat clubs. We're almost like that. And I don't even know why. And I don't even think people, if you ask somebody really, truly, why are you doing this? Oh, because the president. Well, is the president doing right things? Well, yeah. No, he's not. He's not doing right things. And I think that people, and it bothers me that this guy who's one of our, probably Kirkpatrick is one of the greatest football players of all time, will not have a job because of the NFL owners doing bullcrap and listening to a president who should not have his hand in all of this stuff. And nobody is bothered by the fact that our president has his hand in everything. And you can't even argue with people. It almost comes down to people will tear you apart mentally and physically if you agree with them. And I think that our world right now we're heading into more problems with people's mental health because people can't even. Because people can't even, I mean, the degradation.
That's the control part I was talking about, Sabrina. That's the control part. I want to control how you think. You can't control how other people think. You can control how you think. But there's a thing now with some people about control, and that drives people over the brink.
And you see, they're modeling that behavior that they like. So they're following suit because they feel like it's okay. They aren't even using their common sense to figure out, okay, what this man is doing and advocating is not right. They're just, going along with it, and some of these people are mentally ill, very much so. Yeah. And they're taking this they literally taking this. I mean, taking this seriously. They are applying the way that he talks, and this they're applying this. They're doing this, and it's real. I mean, they think this is real life. The way you're supposed to be doing stuff because he's doing it.
They're not in, these people, like she said, they're not even in touch with reality. And this thing about nothing goes back. Nothing goes back. We're not going back to the 20s. We're not going back to the slave ship, the Middle Passage. We're not going. That's over. That's done. The only way anybody can go now is to go forward. Nothing goes back. And you have these people who want to. The control is to keep it like it used to be. But that's what the word came from. Used to be means it's past. It's over. It's just about control. I will control how you think. I will control what you do. I control where you go, where you cannot go. If I don't want you in this restaurant or this place of business, and you cannot control all of that. But we're living with people who want to go back and control it like you used to be in the past. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They keep clinging to the past. The past is over. That's why they call it the past. It's done. But it is, and like Sheryl said, you got a lot of mental illness things going. I'm starting to wonder about the mental illness issues too on some things. I'm saying, like, wait a minute. You're in public, people. You're doing all this in public. You don't care who's someone's got a camera on you, and you gonna take it on out and do it crazy anyway, then turn around and scream back at the person who's filming you. That's mental illness. That is mental illness. The rest of it is pure evil. All the rest of it is evil too.
Yep. And the sad part, ladies, is what happens. This is my thing. All of these people are now feel the freedom to come up with and they're bringing their mental illness with them. What happens when he's out of office and these people may have to answer for the things that they're doing and get themselves jailed? Then we're now housing and holding the people. Think about what's going to happen, because there's no guarantee that that he's going to get elected for another 4 years. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, but he's not going to be there for 8 more years. And these people have to understand they're not being held accountable. But when you are held accountable for this behavior and you start striking out, because your mental health has went unchecked, they've been dormant. It started kind of. Does that make sense? But now it's been triggered, and the trigger is President Trump for a lot of these people. Now we don't have a system that can help people take care of their mental health. Now we have people not being responsible. What happens when your so-called person that's the trigger leaves? They go on with their lives. What happens to these people?
And not only that, they don't realize why they're so busy on his every word, hinging on his every word. He is cutting services that they are going to need.
Yes,
He's cutting services. These veteran services are suffering, but you're worrying about people taking a needle. You know what I'm saying? But you're cutting the veteran services. You are cutting the mental health services. He's doing some very, very intense cuts while he's throwing up all these distractions with these crazy tweets. And a lot of people are not realizing that's what he's doing behind the scenes. He's distracting you with these crazy tweets. But he's revoking everything that Obama did, and probably people even before Obama that had in place. The little stuff that was good, he's revoking it because he got all these people in his ear. He don't know what he's doing. So he's got people here. They got their own self-serving thing. I mean, he even turning back some of the protections with the loans. The people like with the predatory lending, the student loans. All of this stuff, it's going to get pretty bad. While you out there hinging on his every word, saying, yeah, because the ones that's going to be affected is the ones, some of them, they ain't the poor people. You know what I'm saying, that's out there doing it, who's thinking they're doing it, getting something. They're the ones going to suffer, because they don't realize yet this is going to affect me long term. They're not paying attention. They just so caught up in these speeches he gives. They're not realizing they're going to get impacted by this. All these tariffs, that's going to affect a lot of us, So, hey, a lot of jobs going to be lost and going right back overseas. So, but, you can't tell people like that anything. So,
No,
it's
it's
and that's why mental health, especially in our community, everybody else's community, we underserved anyway. I mean, let's face it, the poor whites and black people in general are the least likely to get mental health treatment. That's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to even be worse now because now you're not going to even it's not going to even be funding for it in the community much at all.
With that being said, and we know that the funding is going down, what can we do as, the people who are working, who have the licenses? What can the church do? How can we bring these communities together?
Well, I would like to see more. I would like to see more community centered counseling. Because back to what I'm doing in corrections right now, a lot of these folks first time getting their mental health treatment when they come to jail. So that's not serving any purpose. So they need more community mental health services with the MHMR program, and they are suffering now because they took away one funding source and put another one, and a lot of people are saying that they made the co-pays higher. Well, a lot of these folks can't pay the co-pays. So that's the problem we have in here because their new system they had, they took away one, what they call it, service provider or whatever that was funding it. It used to be North Star. But anyway, North Star got replaced with something else. And whatever the other something else is requiring more out of pocket for the patients. Well, most of these patients don't have money anyway. So you create another problem. They can't afford the medicine. They can't afford the co-pays. So now if they not taking their medicine, if they're already dealing with drug addiction, they go out there and commit a crime. They're not mentally stable. You bring them to jail to get treatment.
Now the pre-existing condition, Sheryl, how did that come out? Pre-existing condition. Pre-existing condition. Did that go up in smoke too?
I think it has. I'm not really as familiar with that, but it probably did. But I think that was one of the things he was looking at changing, though, if I understand correctly. I did see that was one of the things they were going to attack because when Obama came around, he made you not turn away people for pre-existing. But I think they were looking at changing that again. But I don't know what the final decision on that was.
They're trying to. President Obama did away with the pre-existing. Now they're trying to go back to pre-existing conditions.
Right.
Yes, they are.
So a lot of people are suffering. Again, so you're not getting the physical help, you're not getting the mental help. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, if you don't take care, like I said, I would like to see more community mental health centered care. They are putting money into corrections. Give you a prime example. Where I work, they built a $50 million facility in the basement of the Dallas County Jail for mental health and psychiatric care. It's mental health and medical care. $50 million this facility cost for the house and it composed a psych infirmary for the medical infirmary for male, the medical infirmary for female. Price was $50-some million, paid for by the county, the Dallas County. And it's in a Dallas County jail right now in the basement of Dallas County. That's what they did. Now think about how that money could have been used. We talk about this at the job all the time. Think about you would take $50 million and put it into some community mental health center, some homeless shelter in the city.
Could have had centers throughout the city of Dallas.
Yep.
Whew, that's a lot.
So a person should not have to get incarcerated before they get help.
That's true.
And then you put them then you release them with no services. You release them right back into the same community. They get back to lack of services again, homelessness again, around the street again. Well, of course they're gonna get arrested and reoffend.
Right.
So it's a vicious cycle. And but the thing about it ain't no money in mental illness. That's why people don't give a damn about it. That's just a lot of money. But that would help if you had that type of situation.
It's not a cash cow. It's not a cash cow.
Right.
No.
But I think though, if people are going into schooling and they're getting their degrees and stuff, if people try to focus just maybe a certification on mental health or substance abuse or something with pastoral counseling in order to have that extra cushion so that they can help the churches, I think that might help a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Oh,
There's
so
many.
It would.
I mean, I know for me, my PhD that I'm working on now is going to be on theology, but with an emphasis in crisis counseling, so I can work with churches in hospitals where people can come see us and get the services they need, even though they may not have the money. Because at some point, if we don't step in as a church, and we are the church, and we say we are the church, and I get that churches, but I'm just going to be blank honest, a church that I don't go to this church anymore, but one of my churches that I went to, $100 million tax-free that you don't have to pay. You can't tell me we can't do something to help people with that money.
Oh, I agree.
I know. I think every church ought to have a mental health liaison.
They easily set up a free medical clinic and a free kitchen, free food. People come there and get a free meal every day. They could do that easily.
Yes.
I mean, and then have a
like
day.
My father. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And have a day program where they could come to, that you could work with them. If some of them may not be able to work, but you could work with them, get them off the streets for that time. Right. I'm proud of Las Vegas right now. We do have one of the first facilities. We copied it from another state, but right now there is a place where the homeless can actually sleep and be protected at night, and so. We need more places, but I think, and it's not just like the church I went to was white, but I know that there's many black churches these churches are bringing down millions and millions of dollars tax-free. I'm really having a hard time believing that we cannot, not just for mental health, for domestic violence, we can build houses for teens. I mean, there's so much that we can do to help with the mental health crisis that's going on, but sometimes we just look at, okay, well, we got the people in the church and we did our thing, and I think we need to stop looking at that. But with that being said, we could go on forever and ever, but I just want to remind everybody that we are online with Ms. Sheryl Grace and Dr. Lynda, and they came on today to bless us with talking about mental health, and I'd like for you guys to be able to follow them. So can either one of you guys can start, Dr. Lynda or Sheryl, but just tell us where we can follow you and anything that might be of a help in your community for people.
Okay. Sheryl, why don't we discuss, the number, the emergency number that everybody calls statewide? It's 211. Is that the one? 211.
211. 211.
That's a number that anyone can call and get help for any type of immediate family emergency that you need. You can start there. The rest of it is online. If you have a cell phone, the NAMI, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, is available online. All types of services. Even though it's a national website, it will tell you where you can go local. And
because NAMI is all over.
Okay.
I was just saying NAMI is all over because they can find a NAMI captain.
Yes. An agency. But I am so in agreement with you all. I wish every church, every religion, every worship place, community center had a mental health liaison. I mean, I don't know how we can keep on like this with all of the things that are going on in the country. Every group, every foundation, every situation that's out in public needs a mental health liaison. I don't know, it's the stigma. We know that. But I'm sorry, I just don't see how we can keep this up, at the rate that we're going. There are too many lives being lost, too much abuse, too much violence, domestic and otherwise. It's too much. And
I think,
untreated, unmedicated, we just need to do better. We need to do better.
And I think that the church is and you're right, whether you're a Christian church or you're a Muslim church, if the religious organizations and the churches don't come together, you can stand around and say, well, you know what? Well, President Trump is cutting this and that. Okay, that's great. We understand that. Okay, it's not right, but at the end of the day, when you're getting money to be given to your church and you can designate those tithes, there's just a general tithe. You can. The church has the ability to do things and get grants and funding that some of us can't do. And the church, and the churches up. And I know the churches and some churches listening to this may not want to hear this, but it's our responsibility as these people. We're saying we fellowship with them, and that we are our brother's keeper. Then we need to do things. We need to do things that are going to help. If it's a day program where you can get somebody, have people to deal with their mental health, have them check in every day, get a meal, get their medicine, and, get some time to be and learn how to be in groups. If that's all we can do, that's a great thing. If it's just giving people a place for domestic violence where they don't have to go back to that, and we can build more shelters. It's a shame that in states that we don't have more shelters that can be built, and that we're always having to do this fundraising. Again, the churches can come in and do that. And I understand that the churches, we want to have big churches, and everybody says that some of these pastors donate their money, but you know what? The church is the responsibility of the church at the end of the day, because long before the president of the United States was ever elected, who took care of the communities? The churches.
Yep, the church did.
Yeah. So long before any of that, we can say whatever we want, but it was the community, it was the churches, it was the families, and we have to get back to that, because it's just a blame shifting. Well, it's this person's responsibility. We need to take it back where it is and look at the outlets and say, let's all work together. We can work together on this, because it just doesn't need to be, and I think that's just. I think for today's show, it was just there was a lot of things going on. Of course, me and my wanting to think I have super control of my life and finding out that the only control I have is no control.
But that's why it's so important for us to have these conversations, because people have to feel comfortable in discussing what we just got discussed. So many people, that all the topics we discussed about today, a lot of people are thinking that they're having these issues, but they don't feel safe to have the conversation.
That's true.
Well, I really posted out on Instagram, and I'm finding while I was sitting here, and the last, I think it was just before today, I think it was 3 days ago, I was looking at all the feedback. I had a chance to go through the feedback, and on my posts that I post, and on the shows that I post, and people were like, "Oh my God, thank you for saying that. I needed to hear that. I was thinking that. I didn't know somebody else was thinking that." I'm doing a whole show on narcissism, and you ladies are more than welcome to come back on it, because it appears that we are going through a time of very narcissistic, and the narcissistic people have always been around. What's a narcissist? Basically, somebody who thinks that they're the bomb and nobody else's opinion matters except for you. And you cannot challenge them. And if you're challenging them, basically you're the crazy one. So, but I'm doing a show on narcissism because I've had a lot of people send me and say, I'm dating somebody or I'm married to somebody, and my opinion, if I say this, and I'm just like, are people kidding me? Are you just, so these shows, people ask me why I do these shows. I do these shows because if I'm thinking it, somebody else is feeling it, or they're in that same situation. And I may be only one show, but I can tell you what, when I looked at my numbers last week, when I was hyped up on Percocet, I thought I was hyped up on Percocet, and I was like, oh man, I thought it was the Percocet, but when I went back, when I wasn't hyped up on the Percocet, my numbers, I'm looking at Germany, I'm looking at the Netherlands, I'm looking at the United States. I have a 50 to 75% following in the Netherlands, in Germany. Who do I know the Netherlands? I'm trying to think. And I'm thinking in Ireland, and thank you guys for all the people who are going to be listening. I thank you guys for all those, because I wouldn't have a show. So I know that these people are being affected. I have some followers who don't speak English, but the message is translated. They can translate it. But what we're doing is an impact. So I invite you guys back on again to be on the narcissistic one, and to also, I'm doing one on and it's called Congratulations I'm okay with being, I am anemic. For people who are coming forward saying, I am anemic, I don't want to be anemic, and I want help, and that they are changing their lives and getting back on track. I follow a lot of young women and men who are just amazing people, and these shows do help people. They really do. And I know people are like, you know, you should charge. What did somebody tell me? I should have a little webinar and charge people. Okay, here we go back again to, if they can't afford to go to mental health class, or if they can't afford to cancer, how in the hell are they going? Sometimes I just want to just come and slap people because, oh yeah, okay, here, I'm sorry, I'm going to charge you $20 to come to my webinar on mental health and how to help yourself. Yeah, seriously. I know people like, let's just come and slap you. You should do webinars on that. And yes, I probably should, and I probably will, but there's never going to be a time where people are not going to be able to get this message, because I can tell you that the people who write me and who listen to these shows and who comment on them, especially on Instagram, are just some amazing people. And when people tell me and they thank me and they say, I know you're in the hospital, I know you're trying to get well, but you keep making posts, you don't know how much you're helping me, I know why I'm here on earth. So, and I want people to understand why they are here on earth. Yes. Okay, so I'm talking to them. That's so funny. They're getting ready to take my vitals. But I want to say, Sheryl and Dr. Lynda, please think of shows and please let me know. And you guys come back on them and let's get these people, because these shows are making a difference. I had a lot of people who have really, actually one lady sent me a thing that said that she actually challenged the school her child for dyslexia. So
wow.
I really appreciate it. When the day we were coming up with these shows, I had a lot of people that said, you guys are funny together. It's just nice to hear you guys laugh, and humor is a really important thing. So you guys have been on the air with Diva, Dr. Lynda, and Miss, oh my God, I just let it ring. And Miss Sheryl. And Miss Sheryl. And you guys, thank you for tuning in. We're going to end it with the song, Dr. Lynda. And thank you, Dr. Lynda, for listening to me as I was having a moment earlier this morning. And just, I really appreciate it and love you. And I look forward to talking to you soon. We're going to end with Dwayne God to pray. You guys have a great day.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
well, that was our last song, Help Me to Pray by Dwayne Gott. Today we had on the line with us Dr. Lynda and Miss Sheryl Grace, and we were talking about mental health. We talked about a lot of things, but remember, you are important. You're more than enough, and you know what? Your mental health is not you. You're not your mental health. It is something that will be with you, but it doesn't mean it has to control you. Get help, ask for help, and I hope you heard the first part of the story of me being here and Kendra caregiver rehabbing from my leg being operated on. It's a different thing for me. And yes, I am asking for help when my anxiety gets a little bit more or I get depressed. This is a big life change. And it is hard when you were used to walking and now your leg is being healed and you can't do everything. You know, people are here for you. You find the right people and you find the right combination in your life. Everybody should not have a combination to your soul, but you give it to the right people and things will happen for you. That's right. I love you guys. You're more than enough. You're wanted. You're special. You're awesome. And may today you go forward knowing that you are more than enough and you're loved. Have a great day. And we're going to play another song as we go out, but I just want to remind you that Rolling with the Diva will have another show tomorrow and on Wednesday. We're going to be talking a lot about this week about getting help, and learning to say no to people, because it's okay to say no to people. Do you have those people in your life that don't want you to say no? Well, they'll get over it, because you know what? They're not running nothing, and they don't get to dictate to you when they get to say no or yes. Okay. So as always, you know, Blog Talk gets me a little bit of trouble when I'm trying to log out. I was trying to log out sneakily, but, you know, Blog Talk is just going to say, not today. But today was a great show. I'm very uplifted. My spirit's uplifted, and it was good to give to you guys because I love you guys truly. And without you, I wouldn't have a show. So I'm thankful for all of my listeners. Thank you for the people who tune in. This is I sponsor Relations Radio, Kimmy Kim. You can hear her 24 hours a day. You can hear me on Spotify and also on iHeartRadio. I'm the official travel agent for Relations Radio, so I thank you for that, too. That is just a fantastic thing for me, and I love it. So we're going to the studio, and we'll be logging out. You guys have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon.